Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking, here to review another game for you. Before anyone asks, I can't find my twins cap. That's why I'm wearing my fishing cap, my Alaskan fishing cap. I've been packing and preparing for Gen Con, and I put it somewhere in the house, and I can't seem to find it. But I'm sure it'll turn up eventually because my wiener dog likes to chew on it and rip it up. So either she or I will find it first, and no, there you go. So, anyway, so the game I'm reviewing today is a game called Hogger. Now, what this game is, it's a very straightforward card game. It's for 2 to 5 people, and you can play a game in about 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't take long at all. You play the game over a series of rounds, so like depending on how many players, that's how many rounds you have to win. So like with 5 you need to win 2, and with 2 you need to win 4 rounds. So, and you can kind of see like and then the middle obviously like with 3 or 4 it's like, 3 and 4. You get what I mean. Anyway, so the game has this giant deck of cards, and on the other side of the cards you have numbers of 1 through 15. And some cards, depending on what they are, and also I should mention that like there's the 8s look different because an 8 is the Hogger card, the pig that's a lumberjack. You can see there. So and then some of the cards actually like have different abilities and stuff like that. Like this one allows you to draw a card and stuff like that. But regardless, I'll explain that more when I show you how to play the game. Hogger is well, it isn't totally what this is, but it kind of has its whole basis in the game of higher lower. Or if you're a child of the 70s like myself and you watched a lot of game shows, it's kind of like Card Sharks, if you remember that one, where people would answer questions or whatever, and then the person who got the best score got to go and play the higher lower game with cards, these giant cards, and flip it over. It's a 3. Do you think the next card's higher or lower than a 3? That sort of thing. So that's the same thing that goes on with this, and I'll explain. I mean, that's the base mechanic of it, but there's a lot more to it because of the fact that you only have a certain number of cards in your hand, and when it's your turn to guess higher or lower, you have to then like if you have a number like a 2 or a 3, it's a pretty easy decision to make. It's like obviously it's higher, but because it goes 1 through 15. But when you have a number like 7 or 9 or even 10, things like that, it's like there's still you have those averages. You can pretty much guess pretty well, but you have to kind of like weigh your odds and whatever and figure out. And there's enough cards before anybody says, well, can you count the cards? There's enough cards in this deck that theoretically, yeah, you might be able to count the cards a little bit, but I don't think that would really work well. And besides, this game is kind of, I think, geared towards a family fun atmosphere. So if you're counting cards in that sort of situation, you're kind of a jerk anyway. But regardless, I'm going to show you how to play the game as I always do. And then we'll come back here and I'll tell you why I've been having fun playing this game with my family, and then we'll go from there. Alright, cool. Well, here we go. Hogger. This is the game of Hogger, and I've already pretty much set up most of the game. You shuffle up both of your decks, your action card deck and your Hogger deck, or the numbers deck as it's known, and you take the top 3 cards and you place them face down like that. Nobody can see them. And then you're going to turn one card over and you're going to place it on top, and that's the beginning numbers card. So whoever's turn it is going to have to choose whether one of these cards is higher or lower than 11. Then each person gets 3 cards, and we'll just assume I have other players here, like, another, like, you can play up to 5 people, so we can assume we just have 5. I have lots of friends. And so then I'm going to look at my hand, and so I have these 4 cards. I have 3 cards, 4, 13, and 11. Now, you don't get to draw any more cards unless you can somehow do so by either getting an action card or a numbers card that tells you to draw another card. But if it's my turn, what I'm going to have to do is I have to pick one of these 3 cards, and I have to say whether or not it's higher or lower than the number 11. So I could say, obviously, since the numbers 1 through 15, the safe bet is to say lower. Now, you can pick any of the 3 cards. You just go ahead and you choose your own fate, if you will. So, like, let's say I'm going to turn this card over, and I'm going to say that it is lower than 11. Now, what happens is the other people that are playing have the option of playing another card down. So like if somebody comes over and they say, okay, let's make this tougher. They're going to say a 7. Now I have to pick on the number 7. So obviously that's a much tougher decision. Once again, because 8 is between 1 and 15, I've got to pick either higher or lower than a 7. Obviously, higher is like maybe the most logical choice since there's more cards on it. And if you get the exact same number when you turn a card over, that's a fail. You don't win with that one. But you can also change, and you don't have to choose. You can just say, okay, maybe this one or that one. But basically, it's a choose your own fate type of thing. So somebody plays that. Now I have the option of my cards. I can pick one of these and I can lay one down. So let's just, okay, really? Well then, fine. I will put this one down. And then once again, somebody else can lay a card. And then somebody else can lay a card. There's no limit to the number of cards that can be played in a round. But remember, you only get 3 of these cards. So if you use them all up, then you're not going to have any left. You're just going to be like at the whims of fate and chance. So let's just say nobody else changes. Nobody else puts a card down. I say lower. I turn the card over. It's a 10. Whew, whew, I made it. So I would, so we go ahead and we put the 10 up there like so. And now I have to go, it's my turn again. And the goal here is to be the person who picks the last card correctly. So I'm going to say lower than a 10, and I'm going to pick that one. But let's say somebody goes, oh really? Let's put a 4 there. All right, I'll say higher than a 4, and I'll say this one. Turn it over, 12. Woohoo, 12. So I'm doing pretty good here. I'm having some good luck, and that's good. Now here's something interesting that can happen if somebody else plays a card. One of the cards they can play is they can take a 12, another 12, and they can put the same card down that's on there. I don't have one, but notice how this one tells them to draw a card. So say one of my opponents puts this down, like so. If you double up, meaning that you put the same card down the number that's already there, you get to draw an action card. And then that person also got to draw a card because it told them. And they take those. Action cards are just some way that you kind of break the rules. Like, see, draw 2 number cards. It's pretty standard. However, some of the action cards actually get to mess with you even more. Like they actually have to, the guesser can only guess, higher until a number card is flipped. So that's one of those things where if they had that card, let's say they did that, they play that on me, well, funny guy, you think you're going to win, but now you're going to have to guess, guess flying high, you're going to have to guess higher than a 12. So hopefully, like, if you looked at my cards, then I would be able to, like, maybe find a card. So I can say, okay, well, fine, funny guy, I'll go ahead and play a 4 then. And so he's making me use up my cards. So higher than a 4, no, it's a 2. So I'm actually incorrect. So now my turn is done. And it'll go to the next person around the table. So this one would go back up here, and then you take a card off the top, you put it down like so, and now they get to guess with just 1 card. So you can see how, like, people then, now of course, obviously, it's going to be a mad scramble because they don't want that person to win the round, because with 5 players, you win 2 rounds, you win. And so, like, maybe somebody would say, okay, well, let's just make it tough for them because we don't want to make it be an easy choice. And so maybe somebody puts an 8, which is one of those, you notice it's a different color. It's got the pig lumberjack, the hogger logger, if you will. And it says, when you play this card, you can draw an action card. So maybe I played that. I had it in my hand. I didn't have it in my hand, but then I can draw an action card. Maybe I can then, all-time low. So the guesser can only guess lower until a number card is flipped. So maybe that would work in my favor, because maybe that person said, oh yeah, well, a 2, and then I would say, oh really? All-time low. You're going to have to guess lower than the 2. Ha ha. They turn to go 5, they fail. And so the game kind of continues like that. And so then the next person goes, let me see if I can actually win if I was like the next person. Higher! Yay! And so then you win the round, and you take everything, you shuffle it up, and you start it up, and you start afresh, and you play another round. It's not the most difficult game in the world to learn or know how to play, but it is a lot of fun, as you can guess, like that stinking 2 that I just turned over. But, alright, cool. There you go. That's how you play Hogger Logger. Let me tell you exactly why I've been having fun with this one. Okay, so there you go. That's how you play Hogger Logger. Okay, like I said in the introduction, it's not the most difficult game in the world to figure out how to play. And even the decisions can sometimes be relatively easy. I mean, obviously, it's like you just kind of have to play the odds one way or the other. But what I really dug about the game was the fact that, like, there really isn't any player order. I mean, it's like when you have your deck, you have your hand of cards, and you're like, okay, do I play this one to help myself, or do I hold on to it to kind of like hammer somebody else? And so you have these wonderful moments where somebody has like a 3, and they're going to get ready, they're going to guess higher. And of course, then you like put your 12 card down or something like that. And then, you've kind of like, changed their mind. And then they're going to say, maybe, I shouldn't say a 12. More like you want to put like a 9 or an 8 or something like that. Because then the decision is really tough. And then, of course, then you're forcing them to play another card out of their hand, theoretically, so they can, like, have a better idea for a guess. And then, of course, then you're using up the cards in their hand. And what happens is that people end up with one card in their hand. And that's when the actual, like, decisions start being actually tough, because of the fact that you really can't adjust anything that's going on. I mean, this is more of like a party, like I said, family game atmosphere. This isn't a game for like serious gamers who like, oh, let's see, So and I've been kind of, not that I gotten away from playing deep, tough Euro or Ameritrash games or anything like that, but I have been playing a lot of games with my family this summer, and I've been having a lot of fun. And this is one that we've busted out and played a lot, after dinner. And it's that type of game that I've been like looking for. I've been trying to find more games of that variety, things like that I can experience, and I can kind of like interest both my daughter and my son in playing, and for that matter my wife as well. So for those reasons, like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, it isn't the biggest rule set, but this is another one of those games that you can teach somebody in about 5 minutes or less, and then you can sit down and have fun and play the game. And it definitely is one of those like social interaction games where you and everybody else are like sitting there hunched over, and like you're playing like a really good action card to kind of screw somebody over, like they have to guess lower or have to guess higher, and then you're turning that card over. Like I just played one the other day where it was like a action card got played and they have to pick low, and the card was like a 3, and we were trying to hammer somebody, and of course the next card we turned over was a 2, and then you're like, and so it's like moments like that the game is like really fun. And it's just has that nice, memorable, fun experience, and without having to like read a giant rule book to figure out exactly how you're going to get to the actual enjoyment of the game. So there, for all those reasons and more, I urge you to check out Hogger Logger. It's a lot of fun. Go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page. You can see if it's something you want to have on your game shelf once it gets published. If you have any questions about the game, by all means, ask away, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.